Well, now to the rise and fall of the big tech players. First, taking a look at Apple. Not too long ago, the company was seen as untouchable and as a symbol of innovation. But now Apple's stock prices are falling, and some aren't as impressed with the technology that it's been putting out. And Twitter, on the other hand, has been pegged to be valued at around $10 billion. The Wall Street Journal reports that Twitter users increased 40% in 2012. And when it comes to the cyber world of search engines and email, the lead players could also be shaking up. So we're going to discuss all of this tech stuff now with Adrienne Jeffries, reporter at The Verge. Welcome, Adrienne. So we recently, doing well, thanks. We recently learned that Twitter has had an incredibly steep valuation, $10 billion. And this is from a company whose founder has admitted he's not really sure how to monetize it. Where do these estimates come from? And are tech companies, their values, are they still inflated even after, recall back to the dot-com burst of the early 2000s?
Right. So Twitter is getting a lot of attention and there's a lot of speculation about its valuation right now because they're preparing for an IPO probably next year. So there are a lot of investors who are trying to grab a piece of the company before it has its public offering. And so that's why we're starting to see these estimates and some of these estimates that seem a little high. And the short answer is that no, Twitter's not worth 10 billion or 9 billion as some of the estimates out there say right now. The company still has, the most optimistic estimates have them making $1 billion in 2014. And so they're not close to justifying a $10 billion valuation today. However, that's speculation for what people think the company will be worth in the future. And I think if you look at it that way, it is possible to say that, yeah, you could justify a value for Twitter that was that high. For one thing, one of the
Sorry, no, right. As I mentioned earlier, we saw how Twitter, the use of it is skyrocketing, 40% growth at the end of 2012 there. So Twitter, how do Twitter users, how do you and I help to make the company what it is and make it worth the billions that it's predicted at?
Right. So that's the thing about Twitter. First of all, it's completely free for them to get all their content. They have a huge volume of tweets going through every day. We all do that for Twitter, without them having to compensate us, and they're able to sell ads against that, and they're coming up with new creative ways to do that. They just released a video app that's getting very popular called Vine, and that opens up possibilities for new types of video advertisements and new ways for brands to use the platform. The other thing about Twitter's growth that I didn't see mentioned in a lot of stories about it was that Twitter still has a long way to go. Just in the US, only about 15% of adults use Twitter, so there's still a lot of room for the company to get new users here in the US, which is a market that advertisers obviously covet. And then there's room for them to grow across the world. They're at about 200 million users right now. So the possibilities for Twitter are
right. It seems like everybody's on Facebook, from my little cousins to my grandmother, not quite there yet with Twitter.
So what's next?
Right. I want to shift gears a little bit now to Apple, because, it's the most valuable company in the world. Of course, Apple CEO Steve Jobs is kind of renowned as this innovator, this legend. But now being head by Tim Cook, some people are saying that it's not really what it symbolized anymore. They're not satisfied with the products that are coming out. They're not wowed by what they've been putting out. Do you think maybe that Apple's reached its pinnacle?
Well, I don't think it's so much that people aren't wowed by what Apple's coming out. I think they are seeing their stock price go down a little bit, and it's kind of like they're almost a victim of their own success there. Like you mentioned, most valuable company in the New York Stock Exchange surpassed Exxon, and now it's kind of like, well, what have you done for me lately? The investors are a little nervous with the new CEO, and they're waiting for the next iPad or the next iPhone. But I think customers are still pretty happy with what Apple is doing. The reviews for the iPhone 5 were really good. People love that phone. The iPad is still unmatched in the tablet market. And it's one of the most secretive companies in the tech industry, so who knows what they could be working on next. I don't think you can really write them off yet.
Right. Google, though, has come under fire, we've reported here, for giving out users' information, raising these privacy issues. And Microsoft Bing is pointing this out in their new ads. Wanted to play a clip of their ad campaign.
You are in for a treat. I just got a new pan for it. Great price online. A top pick on Google Shopping.
How do you know you didn't get Scroogle?
Scroogle?
Google sells its shopping results, so while they look like honest search results, they're really paid ads.
So you might not get the best price.
You don't even know which stores they've left out.
Man, I just got...
Scroogled.
Yeah.
All right, so there's been kind of poking fun of Google not being very cautious, I guess, with users' data. And, you know, there are some other companies that are taking note that some consumers don't like this. Some consumers don't want their data being given out. One such company is Mega, and they're trying to find out ways to make encryption and other forms of privacy. So do you think that maybe things like that could take a share of the market,
Right.
and kind of create this split of data?
Right. Well, Mega is doing some interesting things, but the short answer is no. First of all, the Microsoft campaign against Google is pretty disingenuous, and it hasn't gotten much traction. They put out an online petition trying to get people to sign and say Google should stop advertising, should stop filtering through Gmail and in order to place ads. And they've gotten like an embarrassingly low number of signatures, and most of those are from people who don't quite understand what the campaign is about. So I wouldn't give the Microsoft's Google campaign very much weight, although they do have a valid point about Google's shopping results. But that's not got to do with user data. So Mega is the new venture from Kim Dotcom, who's this kind of larger-than-life internet wizard who lives in New Zealand now, and he came out with this file share. It's not a search engine; it's a file sharing cloud host service. So you can get 50 gigabytes of storage for free, and then if you pay for some tiers, I don't remember exactly what the prices are, but it's like $10 or $15 a month, and you can get different tiers, different levels of data. You can get a terabyte or whatever. Right. And part of their pitch is that they keep everything secure and they keep everything private, and everything that you do is encrypted, and not even Mega can see what's in your files.
Right.
And I think that so far, that pitch doesn't seem to work for any product.
Yeah, well,
usually
certainly
users prefer free over private.
Right. Yeah, but we have seen that there are some people that hold privacy very dear to their hearts, and we'll go for that. We're gonna have to leave it off there. We're out of time, Adrienne. Appreciate you coming on, though. That was Adrienne Jeffries, a reporter at The Verge.
Thanks.